Okay, so get this, someone out there, right? They went ahead and imagined like a full-on mashup of Red Dead Redemption 2 and Back to the Future. And you know what? I'm kind of here for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, like picture it. You got the whole gritty world of, cowboys, outlaws, the whole nine yards, and then bam, time travel.
Oh, wow.
Right. And not just any time travel, but Back to the Future style. We're talking Wild West on the verge of the 20th century, the whole shebang. I mean, for anyone who might not have played it, Red Dead Redemption 2, it's this whole immersive game set in, well, the last days of the American frontier, really. You've got your trusty horse, dusty old saloons, and this feeling of like a world changing, you know?
Oh, I can imagine.
So for our deep dive today, we're asking what happens when you drop Hill Valley, Back to the Future 3, that Hill Valley right smack dab in the middle of Red Dead Redemption's world.
Okay, now that is an interesting question because, you see, it's not just a matter of like copy-pasting the clock tower into a dusty old town, is it? Hill Valley.
Hmm.
It stands for something more, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's that point in time, where everything's about to change. Like the whole frontier spirit is going head to head with a whole new era. Kind of like what Red Dead Redemption 2 already does so well. It makes you wonder, like the source did, which Hill Valley spots would fit best in the game world. They mentioned the saloon, which, I mean, duh. But can you imagine Arthur Morgan, our grizzled cowboy, up on that Hill Valley clock tower looking out at the world?
Right.
What a view that would be.
It would be a whole new challenge, wouldn't it? Like maybe you have to gamble to even get the chance to climb it, to get that view. And picture this. You swing open those saloon doors and plastered right there on the wanted board.
Is good old Biff Tannen. Wanted, dead or alive for. Well, being Biff Tannen.
Now, our listener is a real card shark, and they figured, what better way to bring these worlds together than over a high-stakes poker game in that reimagined saloon?
Oh, the tension. And imagine the players. You got Arthur Morgan, cool as a cucumber, with that steely-eyed stare.
And across from him, Marty McSly, trying to bluff his way through a hand with a smile that just screams fish.
Talk about a clash of styles. And let's not forget Buford Tannen, breathing down their necks, looking for any excuse to start a ruckus. In your notes, you mentioned something about Marty going full Clint Eastwood in the Wild West. How do we think that would play out?
Oh, man. That's where the real fun begins. I'm picturing a mission where Marty, to avoid suspicion, has to fully embrace the Clint Eastwood persona. You know, the squint, the poncho.
And he has to be really convincing, too, because Arthur can spot a phony a mile away.
Absolutely. I'm talking about mastering the art of the one-liner, the slow draw.
Oh, man, the dialogue would be priceless.
Talk about a challenge for a kid from the 80s. And speaking of challenges, remember that iconic train chase scene from Back to the Future 3?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if they made that into a quest. Those puzzles, those mechanics, all dropped right into Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah.
Talk about meta.
Oh, man, for real. Our listener is also itching to know how those character dynamics would play out. Like, how would Arthur react to a dude showing up in a gull-winged DeLorean?
Or someone rambling on about flux capacitor.
Exactly. Arthur's a man of few words, grounded in the reality of his world.
Then Doc Brown bursts onto the scene, spouting off about 1.21 gigawatts.
Arthur would probably think Doc's escaped from a chain gang somewhere.
But the real clash of titans, the one I'm itching to see, is Arthur Morgan versus Buford Tannen.
Oh, now that's a showdown for the ages. Two sides of the same bad penny, those two.
Both stubborn as mules, quick to anger,
It wouldn't take much to ignite that power keg. Just one wrong word in the saloon.
or a misplaced glance at their horses.
And bam, you got yourself a full-blown Western brawl.
And speaking of clashes, our listener also wonders about Sheriff Strickland, that by-the-book lawman.
Strickland and Arthur. Oh, that's a recipe for disaster. They're like oil and water, those two. One whiff of trouble, and Strickland would be on Arthur like a tick on a hound dog.
Talk about a case of irresistible force meets immovable object.
Exactly. You just know their paths would cross, and when they do, sparks are going to fly.
And then there's Claire Clayton. Do you think someone like Arthur, hardened by years on the run, could find a moment of genuine connection with someone as kind and gentle as her?
Now, Arthur's no stranger to love and loss, remember Mary Linton?
That's true. He's got a soft spot deep down, even if he tries to hide it.
Exactly. So, who knows? Maybe Claire is the one who finally teaches Arthur that even an outlaw can have a change of heart. Or maybe he breaks hers. It is Red Dead after all.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Now, switching gears a little, our listener also brings up a really interesting point about the clash of goals between these two groups.
Ah, right. Because it's not like Doc and Marty can just kick back at the saloon and enjoy the Wild West. They've got a timeline to fix.
They're all about hitting 88 miles per hour, finding some trutonium.
Meanwhile, Dutch and the gang, they're all about disappearing off the grid, living free from the law.
Those are some pretty different objectives.
You could say that again. Talk about a recipe for disaster. Doc and Marty need to stick to a tight schedule while the Vanderlyn gang operates on their own terms. Something's got to give.
This crossover's got more twists and turns than a runaway train, and that's what makes it so darn fun to think about.
It sure does. But man, it's a shame the source ends there. I'm so ready for more. But it does make you think, right? What started as a simple what if goes way deeper, you know?
Yeah, I get you. It's not just about two franchises bumping into each other. It's about the stuff that really gets to us. You know, like that pull of the past, that feeling when things change, how different generations clash, and seeing how those themes play out in like totally different settings makes you think about the stories you could tell.
So, to everyone listening, we challenge you to keep this thought experiment going. What other elements of Back to the Future could be seamlessly woven into the world of Red Dead Redemption 2? Let us know what you come up with.